If you've ever found yourself swaying to Enya's famous track Orinoco Flow, you weren't just listening to a song, you were actually listening to a machine showing off.
Oh, absolutely. That iconic pluck is unmistakable.
Right. So, okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a 2019 Wolf Design retro review of the Roland D-50 synthesizer.
A true classic.
Yeah, it really is. And our mission here is to figure out how this specific instrument defined the sound and, the look of late 80s pop music. Because looking at retro tech designs is just wild.
It really is.
It's like watching an old sci-fi movie. You get to see exactly what people in 1987 thought the future was supposed to look like.
Well, and in April 1987, that vision of the future was driven by sheer survival. Roland dropped the D50 into a market that was completely dominated by Yamaha's DX7.
Which was this heavy tank-like machine, right?
Exactly. A huge metal FM synthesis tank. So Roland's counterattack was the D50's entirely new engine, which was linear arithmetic synthesis, or LAS. It was actually the first affordable synth with an onboard effects processor. Yeah. But the real genius was how LAS solved a massive technological hurdle of the era.
Right, because memory was incredibly expensive back then. You couldn't just store a giant high-quality audio file of a real piano or, a flute.
No, absolutely not. So LAS sort of cheated in a brilliant way, obviously.
Like the memory cheat.
Right. It used a tiny realistic digital sample just for the attack, the initial pluck of a string or breath of a flute, and then seamlessly handed off the rest of the note, the sustain, to standard digital synthesis.
Which is such a smart workaround.
It was. What's fascinating here is that this clever memory trick birthed an entirely new sonic texture. It sounded incredibly realistic at the initial strike, but then it sort of morphed into this lush synthetic tail.
Oh, wow.
But, the D50 represents a fleeting transitional era. It was hailed as the DX7 killer, yet its reign was remarkably short. Just 1 year later, Korg dropped the M1, a true all-in-one workstation, and the industry shifted all over again.
So the D50 was really this middle child of the late 80s, wedged right between Yamaha's FM dominance and the incoming workstation era.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did being this middle child force Roland to take bigger risks with the physical design to stand out?
Oh, definitely. Roland must have known that tech alone wouldn't hold the crown for long, so the physical design is incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
They went with a jet black, angular body with these inward beveled sides.
Yeah, and that black anodized aluminum plate, the whole thing with the step-down top edge, it looks like it's lunging forward.
It really does.
But Wolf Design points out some details that I actually have to critique here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, Roland slapped these really complex technical graphics and light blue lettering onto the right side of the panel.
Oh, yeah. The graphics.
It feels like unnecessary spaceship dressing to me. It's trying way too hard to look like a starship control panel compared to, just simple, timeless white text.
See, I'd actually argue that complex aesthetic was entirely functional for its time. Yeah. Maybe it aged poorly to us, but in 1987, Roland had to communicate that this wasn't just a keyboard. It was a highly advanced computer. Those technical graphics visually signaled processing power.
That makes sense.
They wanted you to feel like you were piloting cutting-edge technology, which actually carries over the tactile controls, too. They included this really innovative joystick for sound manipulation.
Right, and the primary buttons sat in a continuous shallow trench, so a musician's fingers could just glide seamlessly across the panel.
Exactly, the glide trench.
The trench is a cool concept, but the actual execution fell flat under the hands of a musician.
Yeah, the feel wasn't quite there.
No, Wolf Design notes the smooth plastic materiality felt remarkably thin. It scuffed so effortlessly compared to Yamaha's robust builds.
It really was night and day compared to the DX7.
Totally. Plus, the buttons beneath the screen appeared awkwardly spaced. It almost resembled a design mistake that disrupted your workflow.
Yeah, that was a common complaint. The mismatch between the D50's aggressive visual promise and its fragile physical reality is super striking. The craftsmanship simply lacked the durability of its rivals.
It did.
But despite the thin plastics and awkward layouts, the legacy definitely stands. Wolf Design awarded it a 7.5 excellent score, and it remains highly collectible today. You'll see average units trading for around 600 to 700 Australian dollars.
And those rare mint condition units, especially if they still have the optional PG-1000 external programmer and the hard case, those easily pull well over 800.
which tells us that musicians are still chasing that specific LAS sound and that specific piece of history, regardless of how easily the plastic scratches.
Yeah, it really does, and it leaves you with something to really chew on.
What's that?
Well, if an instrument feels like an aggressive, fragile, jet black spaceship, how does that physical design, the specific weight, and the tactile feel under your fingers unconsciously alter the actual melodies you choose to compose on it?
Oh, wow. That's a really good point.
Right. Does playing a machine that looks like the 1980s version of the future inherently force you to write future-facing music? It's just something to think about next time you catch yourself nodding along to a retro synth track.